In this lesson, we're going to learn about data types. And data happens to be a very important aspect of our lives. As a matter of fact, in almost everything we do on our day-to-day life activities, we're either generating data or we are consuming data. Let's take, for instance, our basic information are data. Things like date of birth, name, gender, and the rest. These are data. On social media, things like number of followers, posts, all these are data. And even in the current place where we are staying, maybe the room temperature of our room, the humidity, all these are data. So data is all around us. And because data comes in different forms and kinds, it becomes difficult for us to work with data if we don't find a way to group them. And so we have what we call data types. So data types essentially means the way we categorize or group data. We have what we call the numeric types. Numeric types are those type of data that are in form of numbers. We have the strings. Strings are basically textual data like names, descriptions. These are strings. We have Booleans. Booleans have two possible values, true or false. These are logical values. They're either true or false. Then we'll have sequences. Sequences are a group of values. But in this lesson, we're going to be focusing on the common data types, which are the ones that we use most of the time. So let's look at the common types, and we're going to be starting with the integers. So what are integers? Integers are whole numbers. These are numbers without decimal point. They can be positive or negative. So let me give you some examples. 1 is an integer. 5 is an integer. 100 is an integer. So these are positive integers. So we can as well have something like -1, -5. These are integers. Integers are whole numbers, numbers without decimal point. They can be positive or negative. So let's look at floats. Floats are numbers with decimal point. They can be positive or negative. But the real thing is that floats have decimal point. For example, 0.5 is a float. 5.00 is a float. We can have something like -9.99999. These are floats. Floats have decimal point. We'll have the Boolean types. The Boolean types have two possible values, which is true and false. Python is case sensitive. So through here, T is capital. And for the false, the F is in caps, is in uppercase. So don't make mistake of using lowercase t or lowercase f. If you want to denote Boolean types, true or false, the T is in capital, the F is in capital. Then one thing you have to know about the Boolean types is that sometimes Boolean types are used to represent the state of something. For instance, if a number is 0, we can consider it to be false. Then if the value is more than 0, we can consider it to be true. Also, in the case of strings, which we're going to be looking at shortly, when a string is empty, we can consider it to be false. And when not empty, true. So Boolean types are normally used in logical operations, in conditionals, when you want to perform comparison, and so on. So these are where we have application for the Boolean types. So we'll learn more about the Boolean types when we get to the conditionals. But for now, what you should know is that we have two possible values in Boolean types, which is true and false. Now let's look at the strings. Strings are used to represent textual data. And to represent data as strings, you enclose some characters or text inside of quotes. For instance, I'm going to be declaring this variable. So let's have name is equal to, I'm going to have a quote. This is a single quote. This is how we represent a string. Inside of the quote, I can have John. So this is a valid string. So I can have description as a variable is equal to, this is the product description. So this is also a string. But here is the rule. If you are using double quote at the beginning, you have to end it with a double quote. Likewise, when you are using single quotes, if you are using single quote at the beginning, you end it with a single quote. So this is how we represent strings in Python. Apart from the single and the double quotes, you can as well use the triple quotes to represent a string. So let's have something like this as description is equal to 1, 2, 3. And inside the quotes, I can have this is a description. So this is also another way of representing strings. So we have the single quotes, we have the double quotes, and we have the triple quotes. But here's the thing. A whole lot of times, you may likely be using the single quotes or the double quotes to represent a string. It is rare to see strings represented with triple quotes. So most likely, you are going to be using this or this.